Happy 4th of July to everyone tuning in, especially to those of you in Philadelphia, the city that birthed a nation and still bleeds green every fall. We're talking Eagles football today, but with a little dash of history, because on this channel, we know the game and we respect where we come from. And while the fireworks are lighting up the sky across the country, there's some fire burning within the Eagles organization, particularly round one name that might have flown under the radar for many fans until now. ESPN recently dropped an article that caught the attention of Birds fans everywhere. They went team by team across the National Football League and picked out the biggest surprise players of the offseason. When it came to the Philadelphia Eagles, the name that jumped out of the page was none other than wide receiver Danny Gray. And look, if you're like most fans, you might be scratching your head for a second. Danny Gray, really? But once you dig in, the story gets a whole lot more interesting. This isn't just about a guy with speed. This is about a player who could shake up the depth chart and inject something fresh into an already potent defense. So let's rewind the tape and set the stage. Danny Gray is not a rookie. He was actually a third-round pick by the San Francisco 49ers back in the 2022 NFL draft, coming out of SMU. He had a reputation as a burner, a legitimate speedster who could take the top off a defense. But his NFL career didn't take off the way people expected. Injuries and limited opportunities held him back in San Francisco, and eventually, the Niners waived him in August. Not long after that, the Eagles swooped in and added him to their practice squad. That move might end up being a steal, and here's why. During OTA letters and mandatory mini-camp, Danny Gray started turning heads. Reporters who had access to the sessions couldn't stop talking about one thing: his speed. The man ran a 40-yard dash in for 0.33 seconds. That's elite-level speed, folks. And he wasn't just out there running go routes. He was stretching the field, yes, but he was also finding separation across the middle, accelerating through defenders, and actually catching passes in stride. That's huge, because speed is only a weapon if you can harness it. Gray seems to be figuring that out. Now, let's be real. When you talk about the Eagles' wide receiver room, the first two names are locked in stone: A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith. There's no debate. That one-two punch is arguably the best duo in the league right now. The chemistry they have with Jalen Hurts, the physical dominance of Brown, the route-running artistry of Smith, it's special. But behind them, that's where things get murky. And that's where Danny Gray has a real shot to make waves. The Eagles have been searching for a reliable third wide receiver for a couple of years now. Remember last season, Julio Jones came in, Olamide Zaccheaus had his moments, but none of them really seized that role in a consistent way. Go back another year, and it was Zach Pascal, not exactly a stat sheet filler. The point is, wide receiver 3 has been a revolving door. This year, the team hopes Jahan Dotson can be that guy. Dotson, a former first-round pick, came over from Washington and has had a strong spring by all accounts. He's got talent, he's got experience, and he's already made some clutch plays in his short time with the Birds. But even then, in this offense, wide receiver 3 isn't always a high-volume role. The ball gets spread around between A.J., Devonta, Dallas Goedert, and now Saquon Barkley out of the backfield. So, that number 3 spot is about efficiency, not volume. Still, teams usually carry 5 wide receivers on the active roster. And that's where the real battle lies. Who's going to win those last spots right now? You've got names like Unia Smith, Avery Williams, Terrace Marshall, and of course, Danny Gray. And this competition is going to be one of the most underrated but fascinating battles of training camp. Gray has a real chance to emerge here, not just because of his speed, but because of what that speed allows for everyone else. When you have a player who can stretch the field vertically, safeties have to respect that. That means more space underneath for AJ and Devonta to do their damage. That opens up crossing routes. That creates seams for Dallas Goedert. It even gives more room for Barkley to operate out of the backfield. Defenses can't crowd the line or cheat up if there's a burner out wide. And if Gray can consistently win those reps in camp and in preseason games, he might force the coaching staff's hand. One thing that stands out about Gray is his improvement. From last year's practice squad addition to now, there's been clear development. He's making plays, he's confident, and the coaches are noticing. But the big question is this: can he translate spring success into fall production? Because we've seen this movie before. Remember Quez Watkins, training camp legend, blazing speed, made plays all over the field in shorts and shells, but when the real game started, The consistency just wasn't there, so now it's on Gray to prove that he's not just a practice hero, that he can take hits, that he can beat press coverage, that he can stay healthy and productive with the pads on. Terrace Marshall is another name to watch. Former second-round pick, good size, decent speed, but hasn't put it all together yet. There's a version of this roster where both Gray and Marshall make the team, pushing out a couple of younger draft picks like Smith or Johnny Wilson. Because at the end of the day, it's not about draft position, it's about production. The coaches want the best players on the field, period. Avery Williams throws a different wrinkle into the mix. He started his NFL career as a defensive back, then started playing running back, tight end, and wide receiver with the Falcons. He became a dynamic return man and a true Swiss Army knife. That versatility gives him a real edge, especially when you're building the back end of a roster. If a guy can help you on offense and special teams and maybe even take some emergency reps at corner, you find a spot for him. All of this makes the wide receiver room one of the more intriguing parts of this roster heading into camp, and Danny Gray is right at the heart of it. He's got that X-factor ability, the game-breaking speed that few others possess. And if he continues to build chemistry with Jalen Hurts and keep stacking good practices, don't be surprised if he's suiting up on Sundays this fall. Now, zooming out for a second, let's talk about the rest of the NFC East. Because like it or not, these teams matter. The Eagles play each of them twice a year, and those games often determine the playoff picture. So yes, we're going to keep an eye on what's happening in Washington, Dallas, and New York. For the Commanders, ESPN highlighted Darren Payne as their surprise player, not a new face, but someone who needs to rediscover his dominance. After an 11.5 sack campaign in a contract year, he's posted just 8 combined over the last 2 seasons. That's a drop-off, and Washington needs him to get back to being a disruptive force inside. New coach Dan Quinn says he's focused and locked in this offseason, so we'll see if that translates. In Dallas, the name that popped up was Kyle Elam. The Cowboys acquired him in a trade with the Bills after he struggled to find consistency in Buffalo. Still just 24 years old and a former first-round pick, Elam apparently flashed big time during OTA letters and minicamp, multiple interceptions, sticky coverage, and showing why he was once a top prospect, with the Cowboys dealing with injuries. In the secondary, they're going to need Elam to step up. And for the Giants, ESPN pointed to safety Dane Belton. At one point, it looked like he might be an afterthought, especially after New York signed Javon Holland. But Belton had himself a spring 3 picks in 5 practices open to the media, and consistently making plays, even if he doesn't start. He's carved out a role as a third safety. When he's on the field, he finds the football. That kind of production can't be ignored. So as the NFC East gears up for another season of battles, don't sleep on the names you're not hearing on every highlight reel. Danny Gray, Kyle Elam, Dane Belton, these guys might not be superstars, but they could play huge roles in deciding games this fall, especially in a division where every inch matters and every matchup counts. And look, while you're out there today enjoying burgers, fireworks, and good times with your people, keep this in the back of your mind. Training camp is right around the corner. The pads are about to come on. The battles are about to get real. And somewhere in the thick of it, Danny Gray is lining up, sprinting down the field, and trying to turn all that off-season hype into something real. Before we continue, don't forget to subscribe to our channel and give this video a like. Your support helps us keep delivering the latest updates on our Philadelphia Eagles. And don't be shy, share your thoughts on the news in the comments below. In the buzzing world of the NFL, rumors and whispers often sweep through locker rooms and fan bases alike. The latest talk of the town, Josh Sweat, former defensive end of the Philadelphia Eagles, reportedly expressing regret over his decision to leave the team. While no official statements have been released, insiders hint that Sweat may be reconsidering his move, sparking a wave of speculation about his next steps and potential return. Josh Sweat's departure from the Eagles was seen at the time as a bold move, with many fans and analysts debating whether it was the right choice for his career. Known for his relentless pass rushing skills and tenacity on the field, Sweat quickly became a fan favorite in Philadelphia. Yet, as the months passed, murmurs suggest that the transition hasn't been as smooth as anticipated. Sources close to the player hint at a growing sense of nostalgia and second thoughts, which has set the rumor mill spinning. The NFL offseason is ripe for such stories, where player moves and contract negotiations create fertile ground for speculation. Could Josh Sweat be eyeing a comeback to the Eagles? a team that helped shape his identity in the league. The whispers say so. Philadelphia's defensive line has been a hot topic, and bringing back a familiar force like Sweat could be a strategic play for the franchise, looking to bolster its defense. Fans on social media have been quick to pick up on the buzz, with discussions trending around Sweat's potential regret and what it could mean for the Eagles' roster next season. The conversation isn't just limited to Philly. League-wide observers are weighing in on whether this might spark a trend of players reconsidering their moves in the hyper-competitive NFL landscape. Of course, none of this has been confirmed officially, and both Sweat and the Eagles have remained tight-lipped on the matter. But the very presence of such rumors indicates the high stakes involved and the emotional complexity players face when changing teams. If Sweat does decide to return, it wouldn't just be a homecoming for him, but a statement about loyalty, opportunity, and the unpredictable nature of professional sports careers. For now, the NFL community watches closely, waiting for any sign or statement that might confirm or quash the speculation. Josh Sweat's story, whether it ends in a Philadelphia reunion or continues elsewhere, is a vivid reminder of the human side behind the game, the dreams, doubts, and decisions that shape athletes' lives beyond the scoreboard. Until then, the rumor persists, fueling the intrigue and excitement that make football more than just a game. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay updated with exclusive news about our Philadelphia Eagles, be sure to subscribe to our channel and hit that like button. We can't wait to hear your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next video.